Hi Year 5, so this is our text for English for the next few weeks. This is Queen Victoria's bathing machine, which I'm going to read to you. You might want to follow the slides that I've put into PowerPoint as I read, so you can have me on the background whilst following the rest of the story, because there are some wonderful illustrations in there. Queen Victoria looked out at the sea. It was blue, it was cool, it was nice as could be. The day was so hot, the sun was so bright, her petticoats itched and her corset was tight. She whispered a wish, it was only a whim. How grand it would be to go for a swim. Her lady in waiting collapsed on the floor. I've never heard such nonsense before. Impossible, she cried. It would be a disgrace to see more of the Queen than her hands and her face. How would she get from the beach to the water without showing more of herself than she ought to? The Queen sighed a sigh. I'll give up the notion. I'll never be allowed to enter the ocean. For how can I swim if I wear all my clothes, my petticoats and dresses, my shoes and my hose? They'd get drippy and slushy and soggy and sodden, and down I would sink right to the bottom. My dear, said Prince Albert, if it is your wish to dabble and splatter and swim like a fish, there must be a way to transport you with ease while keeping the populace from glimpsing your knees. I'll give all my genius and all my attention to devise a device, to invent an invention. Albert was learned, Albert was bright, Albert was nearly always right. He'd been everywhere from Denmark to Munich. He'd studied old wars, both Spartan and Punic. His knowledge of battles no one could fault. He'd read dozens of books on the catapult. It hurled heavy rocks into the air, chucking them easily from here to there. Victoria, dear, it might be romantic to be launched from your window into the Atlantic. Moving so quickly, you never would show as much as a peak of your royal toe. But Albert, the English, you know how they shoot partridge and pheasants, mergansers and coot. Whatever is up in the air, they bring down and roast it and toast it to a crispy brown. To have for their breakfast, to have with their tea. I'm sure you don't wish that to happen to me. Just after midnight, Albert sprang from the bed. A brilliant idea had come into his head. Wake up, dear Victoria, your worries are over. You can swim all the way from Osborne to Dover. They waltzed, they mazurka'd, they danced a polka or two, then collapsed on their bed with their nightcaps askew. First thing in the morning, Albert got busy. His imperial demands made everyone dizzy. I must have some wood. Quick, cut down a tree. Dig up some stones and send them to me. Get me a wheelwright. Get me a mason. Victoria's splashing shan't be confined to a basin. Albert sawed lumber. He pounded some nails. He ordered for wheels. He laid down stone rails. He constructed a room with nary a frown. He fashioned a porch with steps to climb down. When all was completed, it was fit for a queen. Victoria, I've made you a bathing machine. Let me tell you, my dear, what I propose. You enter the back door wearing all of your clothes. Off comes your dress, off come your rings, off come all those unmentionable things. You put on your suit as quick as can be, and the bathing machine will roll into the sea. Out on the porch, the curtain will hide you, while your lady in waiting hovers beside you. You climb down the steps in perfect repose into the ocean, right up to your nose. No one will get so much as a peep, except for the creatures down in the deep. You're a genius, dear Albert. I'm truly excited. We'll have all the workmen fated and knighted. She entered the bathing machine by the door. Off came her corset, 10 petticoats and more. The windows were shuttered from prying spies, and her lady-in-waiting covered her eyes. Goodbye to the land, goodbye to the turf. Victoria rode the waves and dove into the surf. Dog paddle, butterfly, side stroke and crawl. The buoyant Victoria attempted them all. She plunged and she pitched, she rolled and she wallowed, with water all around her, some of it swallowed. Two sailors on a frigate were having a tiff. One said a flatboat, one said a skiff. It might be a schooner that's hoisted a sail. If it gets closer, we'll give it a hail. It's taking the shape of a soup tureen. Belay and avast, I believe it's our queen. Victoria, unaware of her subject's surprise, carried on with her watery exercise. Tuna and turtles and salmon and flounder tickled her toes and swam all around her. With a splash and a skitter and a final rinse, the grateful Victoria returned to her prince.